Eres perfecta mujer, de la cabeza a los pies. Tú pasas de mi nivel, tú tienes el piquete. De la forma que tú besas, mami, más simétrica que un origami. De la forma que tú besas, mami, más simétrica que un origami. Eres perfecta mujer, de la cabeza a los pies. Tú pasas de mi nivel, tú tienes el piquete. De la forma que tú besas, mami.
Hey guys, welcome to the Porsche 911 992 Carrera 4S. Now, for those of you who've been subscribed to the channel will know that I have already driven the 992, and I did that when I went up to Northumberland with Porsche GB. Now, we've got ourselves this 992 Carrera 4S for the weekend, and it would be very rude to not at least take this out for a spin. Now, I'm at Cafe in the Machine right now, just leaving to film a quick video for you guys on this car because, well, one, I love it, and two, I want to see kind of what the differences are between the 2S that I drove versus the 4S. Now, I know there's not going to be that much. I mean, taking a look at the 992 in general, I really like this car. I really like this a lot. Like with the older models, you used to be able to really tell the difference between the 2S and the 4S. Whereas now, not so much, because they both kind of have that wide angle or the wide rear quarters. As we have an audience as we're leaving. Right, so the thing with these cars, not just the 992, I think Porsche in general, the 911 is kind of prized to be one of those great handling cars that, regardless of the generation, just kind of makes the driver feel super involved. Now, this is obviously the 8th generation of car, and my word, it does sound good. We've got the little Manatino down here. We're in Sport at the moment. You've got Sport Plus, Individual, Normal and Wet. I should really be in Wet mode, but for the purposes of the video, I think it's only right we put it into Sport at least. Oh, wow. The pull on this car is just insane. Listen to it. Now, what do you get from this Porsche Carrera S 992? What we do have is the 3-litre twin-turbo flat 6 engine. The flat 6 has a beautiful tone to it. If you just listen again, drop to second. And it really does punch you. It's 450 PS, so around about 444 bhp. Porsche states that this does a 0 to 62 time of 3.2. However, CarWow have actually done a test and it's coming closer to 3, so make your own minds about just how quick this car is. But I mean, from a styling perspective, I really like this car. It's a lovely yellow colour. I would probably say I prefer something like a Guards Red, which is what I drove back in Northumberland. I'll probably overlay some clips now. The spec on that car was insane. And at the moment, we literally just come off the back of what they call Storm Dennis. So we've had a break in the weather, so I've taken this opportunity to take the car out quickly because it might start chucking it down again. Oh man. If I go into Sport Plus, just because we can, and if I slow it down to first gear, just because I'd like to. Look at this. Careful there. It does have a really nice feel to it when you drive it, guys. The steering on this car, literally whatever way you point it, is so direct. Really, really good. In fact, I would almost say that the way the steering feels is actually relatively similar to that of the Giulia Quadrifoglio, in that any slight movement, you feel it. And I'm very fortunate, because of the storm, we don't have many cars on the road, which is great. Oh man, what a car. What a car. Nice little pops and bangs out the back. Oh. Beautiful, beautiful. Now, from a styling perspective, well, first of all, from an exterior perspective, you get this huge kind of ducktail wing that opens up, which I think looks really, really cool. What I love about the 992 is that kind of constant, I guess, Cyclops style rear tail light, which I think is very distinctive, and it just looks great. Oh, that acceleration is solid, guys, really solid. But I think just the styling of it is beautiful. Now with all the 911s, like I said, this is the 8th generation. What Porsche have done is they've made sure they stay true to themselves and keep to kind of just making sure that you still know that this is a 911. With all of the 911s we've seen, you just don't see that much of a change. But what we do see is a nice change to the interior. Now with the 992, Porsche have really kind of embraced that technology aspect, particularly on the interior. We've got a massive 10.9-inch touchscreen infotainment system, which works really well. I love the fact that we've got the 5 dials going back to the old Porsches with the analog dial in the middle, and I don't think you'll ever see that change from a Porsche perspective, because it's just what they do. And look, we've got a nice bit of open road. Yeah, and I mean the road conditions are really, really wet and damp. We've got Goodyear tyres on this, and we're still putting so much of the power down. Guys, what a car, what a car. And as I said, interior wise, what do we get? You know, I mean, we've got some very, very nice kind of half leather, half original style retro cloth seats, which I really like. The way they feel, they really do hug you well. The bolstering isn't too much that you're kind of like literally sucked in here, but it's just enough that when you do throw this car around, you feel very, very comfortable. From a ride comfort perspective, you do have the kind of PASM Porsche adaptive suspension, which means depending on what mode you're in, it just gives you either a very harsh, stiff ride, or it can give you a very compliant, calm, relaxing ride. So you do get the best of both in this. As an all-round daily car, this is phenomenal. It really, really is. I can't get enough of that rear engine noise as well. Oh, this car is very cool. I must say the yellow is starting to grow on me. I do think so. But the thing that I love most about this car, about Porsche in general, is the way it makes you feel. Now, I've always talked about the want for a Porsche myself. I really do feel that one day I will own a Porsche. I've wanted one for ages, since I was a child, if I'm honest with you. It's kind of a childhood dream car, if you like, just as the weather really is getting bad, and I think the storm's coming back. And the GT4 is a car that I really, really think is something that I need to have in my life. But a Carrera 992 4S, again, it gives you the best of everything. The GT4, of course, is manual, which is winning. Whereas with something like this, it's you get the PDK gearbox, 8-speed PDK, but you also have this kind of middle, it looks kind of like a shaver, you know, like a men's shaver, which is quite cool. Very plain-esque. And I know I said it in my original video with the Carrera 2S, sometimes it's nice to have a bit more of a gear stick where you can kind of knock it back, and if you really wanted to embrace kind of knocking the gears up and down, you could, whereas now you can't. But little things, guys. Oh, the tone from that engine, that flat 6, is glorious. I'm a real fan of that, guys, a real fan. So I guess what are my thoughts on this Carrera 4S, the 992 Carrera 4S? I really like it, and it's one of these cars that you can drive every day. You know, it's you know, supercar territory almost. 3.2 to 60. I mean, any car that does 0 to 60 in sub 4, I think, needs to be considered, you know, supercar-y. But the good thing that you get with this is that you get the practicality from it. Now you've got kind of the front, I guess. You've got a boot in the front, which you can put your stuff in. You've got the engine in the rear, but also we've got 2 rear seats. Now, let's be honest here. The 2 rear seats that you have behind me, you're not going to be able to put much in it. You're definitely not. I mean, you might be able to house a dog, and you might be able to house some very small children. I mean, I'm 6 foot, I'm kind of fully in my perfect ambient driving position, and the space behind me is minimal. So if you're thinking of putting people in the back of this, you're going to struggle. So I mean, this is almost, for me, I know Porsche call it a 2+2, as I throw around, look at that, throwing it around here, it just handles like it's on rails, this thing in the wet. Oh, as the back starts to go there, it handles like it's on rails, this car. It's just brilliant. With the Manettino, well, it's Manettino's Ferrari, but you've got like the, I guess it's a mood switch, I guess. You've got what they call the sports response button. The sports response button sends the car into overboost for about 20 seconds. So if I was to if I was to press it, where am I? Got to be careful because I am, let me just turn around here quickly. I've got to be careful because I am in very wet, damp conditions, and the last thing I want to do is to send this too much. But just to give you guys a quick perspective as well, because I think it'd be good for you to see. If you push the sport response button, it turns the car into completely ludicrous mode for about 19 seconds. So if we press it now, listen. Here we go. And we're spinning. And what we get, let's turn that off. And what we get actually, you get the gear shifts feel a lot more thumpy. You know, the acceleration's a little bit more, they run a bit more boost through the turbos, I believe, and it just gives you that even more sense of sensation. Particularly, for example, if you needed to overtake somebody, you just press sports response, and off you go. And it really is that much more responsive. It's not a gimmick button, it does a really good job at it. But anyway, kind of what are my final thoughts? I'm going to head back to Cafe in the Machine and catch up with the guys from My Roads to Me. I really love this car. I really love this car. A couple of criticisms for me is the way the dash is laid out. Because of the steering wheel, you don't necessarily see the final two. You have to lean in either way to see it. Other than that, I love this thing. Why would you not? The inside of this car is glorious. The infotainment is incredible. I really, really like it. I've got nothing but good things to say about this Porsche 992. I mean, Porsche have had 8 attempts to master this car. You know, I mean, I think arguably they mastered it a long time ago, but this 8th generation is just winning, and I think they've done a really good job with it. But anyway, guys, I'm going to end today's video here. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, help me get to 50,000 subscribers. It would mean the world to me. And I hope you've enjoyed this video on the Porsche GB Carrera 992 4S. Massive thanks to Porsche for giving me the opportunity to drive this. And yeah, I'll see you all very soon on the next one. Sports response one more time. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.